Most elevators on the prairies consisted of the main house where the business of receiving and shipping was conducted, and an annex on each side for storage of the grain. Because of the nature of wood, such a massive structure had to be designed to accept the stresses of weight and weather.
Well, it's when it was built, when it got loaded, it pushed the bin or the planks down or leveled them off. That's what they are actually, because they are not quite nailed quite tight when they're built. So when the load comes on them, it pushes the bin down, but this part is the driveway, and it doesn't move. You see this part? This is the part here, and that lets it slide right there. The slider is right up there where it's, you see where that thing is? That lets the elevator slide, so this stays solid. This stays here. It doesn't move. Those little things are all the way down because that's all that slides. It's quite an idea they had. There's quite the timbers.
The amount of movement was considerable.
I marked it here, and it went down, I would say, maybe 4 2x6s or 2x8s are these. These are 2x8s, I guess.
Power for the elevator was provided by a gas engine, rather larger than this one.
Oh yeah, this is what they started with, gas engines. And in '49 we switched over to power, electricity. But this is how you started. There's no crank for these guys. You turn it backwards, that's when it chokes, you put the gas in it. And then you pull it forward. This runs the whole elevator.
To deliver grain, a driveway was constructed through the main house. The wagon or truck was driven onto the weigh-scale and over the grid covering the receiving pit, also known as the front pit. These doors have been opened over the years for grain delivery by horse-drawn wagon or modern trucks and everything in between. The process is the same. The truck is weighed before unloading and again after. This determines the weight of the grain. The grain is unloaded and samples are taken to determine its quality. This step is of great interest to the farmer because it determines how much his year's work is worth. The sample is sifted to determine how much is grain and how much is unwanted, like wild oats or other weeds.
And then we put it in this machine here. This is a dockage tester, and the grain comes out here, clean grain. The dockage comes here and the clean grain comes out here. It has little dishes, you know. So it's just like this. You see there's the sieves. There's sieves, then you go this way, you know. Right. And they shake it and the grain comes down below and the dockage down below. Right. This thing is run by the electric motor. We only took dockage test on wheat.
Oh, okay.
The others we'd have to use the sieves to get dockage for well, barley or oats, but this would be for wheat.
At this time, moisture content is also determined, and the check is made out.
Give the farmer the check, and he's gone. I don't know if he's happy or not.
Then comes the job of moving the grain to the appropriate storage bin.
From there, it goes up in the leg. Yeah, this is set. The leg is, this is the leg. This is the thing that handles all the grain that comes in and out of this elevator. Then you set your bin. You have to pull this, lift up the spout up on top, and turn the bin to number 10. That's where the grain is going to go now.
The slide handle is then raised to allow the grain to flow from the driveway pit into the pit at the bottom of the leg. Because different grains are of different weight and volume, the size of the opening needs to be controlled.
And this lets in so much grain, whatever the leg can handle. If it's wheat, we set it at this. If it's barley, we set it at that. And if it's oats, we set this lever at that. Yeah.
The grain is stored into the various bins according to its variety and grade. A man lift is provided to allow inspection and maintenance of the various floors of the elevator. A cable travels to the top, around a pulley, and back down to a counterweight. The weights are changed to balance the weight of the man using it.
Just had 2x4s instead of this, made out of 2x4s in the platform. Then I guess when the elevator agents weren't as smart as they used to be, they put doors on them so they wouldn't fall off.
When it's time to ship, business moves to the back of the elevator. The grain is moved from the bins into the garner, also known as the top hopper.
I'm going to be loading out of bin 18. So this is bin 18 is open now, and it's running into the top hopper. So then I go over here and I open this up, and if this hopper is full now. So then I set the scale, and then I pull this lever here, and the grain goes down.
It takes about 20 hopper loads to fill a train car load.
This is the leg and everything, and this is the one for the open up to load the cars. This is the other side of the leg.
All right.
Just lift that up and away she goes.
The leg then elevates its produce to the top of the elevator to load into the rail cars. Our elevator does have something more.
This is Philip built this, and he built it in a lot of elevators. This is to take rapeseed out of grain. Instead of it being dockage, they could take the canola out of the grain.
Oh.
And then it went, well, he had a sieve up here.
Okay.
There was a thing here, and it had a sieve, I guess. And he took the grain out, the rape out of that. But Philip built all these, and he went to Peace River and all over and built these.
Philip who?
Fournier. He used to be at Rochford. He was a pool agent at Rochford. But he used to build these things.
Okay, we won't
But they're,
I don't know, in a sense.
there's not too many elevators had this in them, so you wouldn't.
Once into the loading bins, it's a simple matter to shoot the grain out and into the railway cars. There is also the option to ship by truck, in which case the grain is fed back to the driveway where there is a pipe fitted for that purpose. All grain elevators work in the same way. The grain is received and feeds to the bottom of the leg. The leg then takes the grain to the top and is distributed to the storage bins. When it's time for shipping, the grain goes to the bottom of the leg and it is then elevated to the top again. It's then fed into the shipping bins and then out to the rail cars.